Little Thérèse by Reverend Père Carbonell, S.J. Preface. Children, this book is for you. It will tell you about the life of a child like yourselves who became very dear to our Lord and who has been placed by the Church in the ranks of the saints. She did the same things that you do. The only difference was that she did them much better. Yet she never forgot that we cannot always be quite happy in this world, but must wait for perfect happiness in heaven. Sometimes, too, she cried as you do, but she bore her little troubles bravely to atone for her childish faults and for the sins of others. She was even glad to suffer, because her model, the Holy Child, had suffered so much for her. God gave little Thérèse very special gifts, a remarkably quick intelligence, deep power of affection, and great personal charm. But all these gifts are nothing in comparison with her deep love of God, and you can all imitate her in this. It would be difficult to imagine more tender affection and more absolute trust between father and child than that which existed between Thérèse and her Father in heaven. The first words of the Lord's Prayer had impressed her so deeply that she made them her guiding principle in life and in death. Read this life then, children. All its details have been given to me by the sisters of Thérèse. I shall often write down word for word what she wrote about herself using her own expressions. It will help and encourage you in your efforts to be good, and you will soon learn to love this little heroine, and you must try to talk to her. Do this, and she will love you and send you some of her roses, as she so sweetly called the graces God had given her to shower down on us from heaven. Chapter 1. Birth of Thérèse. Saint Thérèse of the Child Jesus was born in Alençon in Normandy on January 2nd, 1878. Normandy is a beautiful province in the northwest of France, a land of woods and streams and green pastures. On the night of Thérèse's birth, the whole countryside was covered with snow. It seemed to be an image of her soul, which was never to lose the whiteness of its baptismal innocence. The parents of Thérèse, Monsieur and Madame Martin, were fervent Catholics, and they welcomed this ninth child as a precious gift from God. There were already 4 girls in the family, and 4 other little ones who had died when they were babies. The children were all in bed and asleep when Thérèse was born, but their father himself went to wake the 2 elder girls to tell them the joyful news. Marie, aged 13, sat up in bed, but Pauline, who was 11, jumped out at once to run and see the baby. However, Monsieur Martin told them both to go to sleep again, promising that they should see her the first thing in the morning. He did not wake Léonie, who was 9, and still less Céline, who was only 3, as he feared they would be too excited. When he went back to Madame Martin, he found her praying earnestly. "I have been asking the same grace for this child as for the others," she said, "that God will choose her for himself, and above all that her soul may never be soiled by mortal sin. Rather than this, I begged he would take her from us at once, as he took the other children." Very early next morning, the 4 little girls were clustering around their baby sister. They spoke in whispers for fear of waking her, but Céline could not long keep quiet. She climbed on a chair, clapping her hands with little cries of joy, and finally gave the baby a resounding kiss, which, of course, woke her up. This was greeted with exclamations of delight from the others. "Oh, Mamma," said one, "how pretty she is. Her eyes are just like bits of sky." "Oh, she's smiling," said another. "Do come and look, Mamma, she's smiling." And a third went into raptures over her tiny hands. The parents of little Thérèse wished to have her baptized on the day of her birth, as all her brothers and sisters had been, but to their great regret, they had to wait for the arrival of the godfather. Even one day seemed a long delay to the pious mother, as she watched her child with anxious eyes. At last, on the morning of January 4th, Thérèse was baptized in the Church of Notre Dame. Her eldest sister, Marie, was her godmother, and she received the name of Marie Françoise Thérèse.